Hi there. Thank you for engaging me on this video. Um, sure, if you're watching this, you probably know a little bit of my story around the New York Teach film course that I'm doing. So I just want to give an update on that. But before I go further, for those that don't know me, my name is Ndebele. I'm a filmmaker out here in Pretoria. So yeah, I've been doing film for the past 5 years. So it's been something that I've really wanted to immerse myself in growing up, wanted to study it, and so I just want to share a bit of the journey towards this opportunity that I came across sometime end of last year, 2020. Um, yeah, that altogether was a culmination of a hunger for opportunities. So one day I came across an email flighting an advert for this film course, like a short learning program offered by New York University, the TISCH campus, and I'm like, let me just apply. What's there to lose? So I just did apply, and surprisingly, they did respond, and yeah, they like, we want you in, but then there's a cost to it, and that became part of the first challenge. I like, now if there's a cost, I think there's other opportunities to learn, maybe on YouTube, Vimeo, or other platforms. One could like easily learn the same things. But I went through what the program offers, what the program entails, like from the lecturers and the experts that are part of the program. Like, wow, let me ask if there is a scholarship, and that was a wise decision on my part, because they did respond that there is a partial scholarship, but I should just apply to it. So I went ahead and applied for the scholarship. Boom, few days later I got the scholarship, but it was partial, as they had indicated, so like 75%. It's quite generous from their part. Now I had to raise the balance 250 US dollars. So the entire course cost like $1,000. So 75% covered like 750. I had to raise the 250, and my mind went on beast mode, trying to think on how I could raise that, because there's a lot of financial commitments that I had to see through. So yeah, that's when crowdfunding, asked a few friends, people in my community to help them. I'm so grateful that a lot of people showed up and showed up for me, like donated money for me to cover the shortfall, and in 2 days I was able to raise that 250, and I'm so grateful. Some of the people that contributed, I don't even know them, but there's quite a number that I know, and very grateful, very super grateful for the generosity and allowing me to be part of this program. So just to rewind why I'm doing this video. So the reason why I even applied for this course is because I've always wanted to enroll for a film program. When I finished high school, I tried to apply to a few colleges or universities that had film programs, but I wasn't successful in many of the cases. So when this opportunity came through, I was like, I'm going for it. I want to learn as much as possible, even though I'm already in the field. So that's why I was inspired to do this. But I'm going to take you to the actual film course, like what it entails. So I've just finished the first module out of 5 modules. So this is a foundation on the film industry. So let me take you to the details of this course, this short learning program that I'm doing. First module, is on fundamentals of film. So as a filmmaker, one needs to know about the history of cinema. I thought I knew a lot of things about like the history of cinema. I was just amazed at what I didn't know, or what I didn't know in depth. So for example, the beginnings of film takes place like in the early 20th century. So you had influential people like your Thomas Edison, who were involved in some of the technologies of making the first cameras, like super big cameras that needed a lot of people to operate. But journeying down to the actual films that were made like back in the early 20th century, you get to see how a lot of learning about this medium, because this medium took a lot of inspiration from things like theater, music. So, and now with this technology that has been developed by like the Lumiere brothers, Thomas Edison's, and all other pioneers, we get to see how this medium can be used to communicate stories. So I got exposed to a lot of films, short films that are stored by the US library, Congress Library. So films dating back to 1910. So I've been privileged to go through that type of footage in this first module. But what I also learned out is like how the film has evolved, like especially the world wars, that the World War I and World War II influenced the film medium. It's just amazing how most of the cameras that were used to capture footage of the war actual, and that necessitated the size of the cameras. So it went from big cameras to small cameras that were used in actual battlefields to capture all that, and that flowed into actually film studios using smaller cameras, and you had like a generation of filmmakers in the 40s, 50s who used these cameras that were previously used in world wars to tell stories. And a lot of stories were centered on narratives around slavery, narratives around like civilization at that time, like a lot of buildings, a lot of industrialization that was taking place at that time. So fast forward later, you had studios, big studios, now at the forefront of this development of storytelling. Now you couldn't just make a film without a studio really being at the forefront of influencing your story, influencing the direction of the film itself. So that was quite an interesting development to learn about. Also, we tend to think perhaps that Hollywood is pioneer in this film medium, but like there's been a lot of cinema like in countries like France, Italy, even in Africa, like Senegal. There's a lot of filmmakers that started out in the continent were from Senegal. But moving from big studios, it's also interesting to learn how film has been democratized. Now anyone can just shoot a film and upload it to these new mediums like YouTube, Vimeos, and all of stuff. So that has brought about like a lot of changes into how people do films. So you have like a surge of young directors who shoot films with iPhones, with your DSLR cameras. So it was interesting just to journey through the history, the technical history of film, from the anthropology of side of film, from how film developed even during the Cold Wars, how film has grown and to where we are right now. So I'm just excited to do the second module, which centers on fundamentals of television, which is a type of a medium as well, but all together part of film. So yeah, can't wait to journey with you as I move to next modules. But this has been such an amazing opportunity. It's been such an eye-opening opportunity. Thankful for all the people that are supporting me through it.